They laughed when I pulled up. Asterisk, I was just trying to grab a quick coffee before my afternoon class, parking my old bike outside the cafe. Nothing fancy, just a beat up Yamaha I fixed up with my own hands. That's when I saw them. Four guys, all in full gear, leaning against shiny custom Harleys like they were in some movie. The moment I took off my helmet, I heard the first one snort. Asterisk, look at that. A kid on a toy bike. Asterisk, another chimed in, louder. College must be handing out licenses with degrees now. Asterisk, I didn't say anything. I never do at first. I just locked my bike and walked toward the door, but they weren't done. Hey, you sure you're old enough to ride that thing without training wheels? One shouted. The others laughed like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. I stopped, took a breath, and turned. You done? Asterisk, the tallest one, stepped forward, clearly the pack leader. His vest said, Bones, how original. He grinned like he thought he was clever. Asterisk, just having fun, sweetheart. Don't get your little college panties in a twist. Asterisk, my jaw tightened, but I still didn't react. I wasn't scared, just irritated. I faced worse than a bunch of overgrown middle-aged bikers with oversized egos. Asterisk. That's when one of them crossed the line. Asterisk, he walked over to my bike, bent down, and flicked my handlebar like it was a toy. Asterisk, hope this thing doesn't fall. Apart on the highway. Wouldn't want Little Miss College ending up as roadkill. He didn't know ... none of them did, that bike. I rebuilt it after returning from my third deployment. I'd ridden it through sandstorms in Arizona and hurricanes. In Florida, that bike had been through more than any of them probably ever had. Just like me, asterisk, I stepped forward, calm but firm. Don't touch my bike, asterisk. Oh, Bones mocked. The baby soldiers got a temper. Asterisk, I didn't blink. Marine. The laughter stopped for a beat. What? Asterisk, I was a Marine. And I'm not a baby anything. Asterisk, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to, asterisk, but I could see it. The hesitation in their eyes, the sudden shift in their posture. The one who touched my bike suddenly stepped back. The one who joked about training wheels swallowed hard. Asterisk, but Bones? He smirked. Asterisk, Marine, huh? You mean they let little girls in now? It took everything in me not to roll my eyes. I stepped closer, real slow. Just close enough that he had to look me straight in the eye. Asterisk, last guy who said that to me, ... I paused. Let the silence stretch. Let them wonder. ... left in an ambulance. I didn't flinch. They didn't laugh. Asterisk and. That's when the door behind me opened and someone else walked out. Asterisk, someone who'd seen what just happened. And someone who was about to change everything. Asterisk, he was tall, broad-shouldered, with a presence that made the air shift. Dressed in plain jeans and a gray hoodie, but there was something sharp in his eyes like he didn't miss a thing. He carried a to-go coffee in one hand and looked from me to the bikers without saying a word. Asterisk, Bones noticed him too. What, you're a boyfriend now? Asterisk, the man didn't even blink. He looked at me first. You good? Asterisk, I nodded once. I'm fine. Asterisk, then he turned to Bones, slowly. Then why are you touching her bike? Asterisk, Bones gave a dry laugh. Why do you care? Asterisk, the man sipped his coffee. Because that's my student. Asterisk, Bones raised an eyebrow. What are you, a professor or something? Asterisk, the guy tilted his head. Something like that. Asterisk, the tension was thick now. The other bikers were quieter, shuffling a bit. One of them, the youngest looking, was clearly uncomfortable. He leaned toward Bones and whispered, maybe we should cool it, man ... Asterisk, Bones shoved him back. Shut up. I ain't scared of some college karate coach. Asterisk, the man took another sip of his coffee, then smiled faintly. I don't teach karate. Asterisk. Oh, yeah, Bones sneered. Then what do you teach? Asterisk, he dropped the coffee in a nearby trash can, took a step forward, and said flatly, combat strategy. I train military contractors, Marines, Rangers, SWAT. Asterisk, he looked at me again, a slight nod, and she was one of my best. Dead silence. I didn't smile. I didn't have to. I could already see the panic blooming in the biker's eyes. Asterisk Bones scoffed. Tried to recover. This is bull, asterisk. Before he could finish, my old instructor spoke again, calmly but firmly. You're on camera, by the way. Security systems live. I suggest you take your hands off the property, apologize, and leave. Asterisk Bones looked around. There were cameras. 2 of them on the cafe walls, blinking red. But it wasn't just the cameras that changed everything. Behind us, a police cruiser pulled into the parking lot. Asterisk, one of the other bikers muttered, no way, ... Asterisk, I didn't flinch. I knew the local cops. This was just getting started. Asterisk, the officer stepped out. A woman, sharp eyes, hand on her belt. She scanned the scene. Asterisk, the instructor raised a hand casually. Officer McAdams, good timing. Asterisk, she walked over, nodded at me, then looked directly at Bones. We got a report of vehicle tampering and harassment, but your handiwork. Asterisk, Bones went pale. What? No, we were just talking. Asterisk, she turned to me. You want to press charges? I stared at Bones for a second, then looked back at her. Not yet, I said. But I'd like a report filed. Just in case. Asterisk Bones tried to laugh it off. Come on. It was just a joke. Asterisk, but the officer didn't laugh. You're lucky she's being generous. Asterisk, then she looked at my instructor. You good? Asterisk, he nodded. We're good for now. Asterisk, as the bikers shuffled awkwardly away, trying not to make eye contact, Bones threw one last glare my way. But even he knew better now. He mumbled something under his breath, climbed on his bike, and peeled out with a weak roar. They thought it was over. I thought they'd learned their lesson. I really did, asterisk, but some men don't walk away when they lose. They scheme. They plot. And that's exactly what Bones did. Asterisk 2 days later. I came out of my apartment and found a bright orange sticker slapped on my bike. Illegally parked subject to impound. Underneath it, a type note, property violation under community. Regulations, HOA, Directive 42B. Problem is, ... I don't live in an HOA. And whoever typed that forgot one important detail. I read everything. Asterisk, I peeled the sticker off and checked the paper for signatures. There were none. No official stamp. No legal header. Just some made-up garbage to scare someone who didn't know better. Asterisk, unfortunately for them. I wasn't that someone, but it didn't stop there. Later that afternoon, I found 2 men in reflective vests circling my building. One of them pointed to my bike and said, yeah, that's the one. Asterisk, I walked over, calm, focused. Can I help you? Asterisk, the older guy glanced at his clipboard. We've got a notice here to tow an illegally parked vehicle. Belongs to a college student who's not registered with the homeowners association. Asterisk, I blinked. Again, this is not an HO, a community. There's no board, no directive, and you have no legal grounds. Asterisk, the guy squinted. You got proof? Asterisk, I pulled out my phone and showed him the property deed, my name on it. And then another file, a digital scan of the county zoning map. No Cho anywhere near this complex. Asterisk, the second guy looked nervous. You sure about this? Before I could answer, a familiar voice came from behind me. She's very sure. I turned, Officer McAdams, again. She walked up, looked at the clipboard the man was holding, then frowned. Where did you get this order? Asterisk, the guy shifted uncomfortably. It was emailed to us, ... from someone named Harold Bones. Asterisk McAdam's face turned cold. That man has zero authority. He's not part of any HOA, and this is a criminal offense falsifying official documentation. Asterisk, I crossed my arms. Told you. Asterisk, she looked at the tow crew. You didn't touch the bike, did you? Asterisk, the younger guy shook his head fast. No, ma'am. Asterisk, good. Because if you had, you'd be part of this investigation now. Asterisk, she turned back to me. We're going to need a full report. Asterisk, I've got it all. I held up my phone again. Screenshots, documents, TIMESTAMPS, even. A security cam clip of him walking past my building yesterday with a clipboard. Asterisk, her eyebrows rose slightly. You've been busy. Asterisk, I shrugged. I learned to be. Asterisk, what Bones didn't realize was that trying to intimidate a Marine only makes her more focused. And trying to humiliate her publicly? That's when things really start to burn down. He thought his little A trick would make me disappear. Asterisk, he didn't know I had one last move that would end his game for good. I filed the report that evening. Asterisk Officer McAdams took everything, my screenshots, the forged notice, the video. She promised it would go to the department's legal division, and she didn't say it outright, but I could tell Dot. She was pissed at Asterisk still. I knew how guys like Bones operated. They don't just back off. They push harder when they feel cornered. And I was right. Asterisk, the very next morning, I got a knock at my door. Not aggressive, just off. A weird rhythm. I checked my peephole. Asterisk, man in a suit stood there. Slick hair, clipboard, name badge that read, Property Compliance Officer. Asterisk, I didn't open the door. Instead, I spoke through it. Asterisk, who sent you? Asterisk, he hesitated. I'm here on behalf of the local housing council. Just a routine check. Asterisk, there is no local housing council. Try again. Asterisk, a pause. Then a fake chuckle. Look, miss, we're just following up on a report about unlicensed residents, and asterisk, unlicensed. I cut him off. This is private property, owned, not rented, not zoned for inspection. And you're trespassing. Silence. Then he said something that made my blood freeze. Asterisk, should have stayed quiet, Marine. Bones warned you. I didn't wait. In one motion, I unlocked the deadbolt, swung open the door, and dropped him with a single strike to the knee. Asterisk, he howled as he collapsed, clutching his leg. You're insane. Asterisk, wrong, I said, stepping over him. I'm trained. Asterisk, he tried to get up. I gently nudged him back down with my boot. Asterisk. Now, here's how this goes, I said calmly. You're going to tell me exactly who hired. You or the next person knocking will be wearing a badge and they won't be as polite. Asterisk, he panted, eyes wide with fear. Okay, it was Bones. He paid me to scare you. Said you embarrassed him, said you needed to be put back in. Your place. Asterisk, I stared at him for a moment longer. Then I reached down, took a picture of his fake badge, and stepped back inside. Asterisk, stay there. The real cops are coming now. Asterisk, as soon as I shut the door, I called McAdams, told her everything. She said she was on her way, asterisk, but I didn't stop. There, asterisk, I sent a message to my old instructor. One line, asterisk, time to call in that favor you owe me. His reply came seconds later, already making the call. Bones just made his last mistake. Asterisk, what I didn't know yet, what no one did, was that Bones wasn't just some arrogant biker with an attitude problem. Asterisk, he had a record, one he paid to keep buried, and I was about to dig it up and bury him with it. It took less than 24 hours. Asterisk, my instructor, didn't waste time. He had contacts, real ones. not street-level guys playing pretend with fake titles and phony badges. I'm talking about former intelligence, law enforcement, cybersecurity experts, people who didn't need to shout to be dangerous. Asterisk that evening, we met in a quiet corner booth at a diner outside town. He slid a USB across the table like it was a sugar packet. Asterisk. It's all on there, he said, sipping his black coffee. Bones isn't just some loudmouth biker. He's dirty, real dirty. Asterisk, I plugged the drive into my laptop and scanned the files. Arrest record sealed after a technicality. A fake veteran's ID. Card he'd been using it to get benefits. Asterisk, and worst of all, he wasn't just forging HOA notices for me. He'd been running a full-blown scam creating fake HOA boards, printing illegal fines, towing vehicles, and shaking down residents across multiple counties. Asterisk, all under a fake compliance agency. That didn't exist. He made thousands off it. My stomach turned. Not just because of what he did to me, but because of how many others had probably stayed quiet, scared they didn't know their rights. Asterisk, but now? Now I had everything. I sent the files straight to Officer McAdams. Her response came back in one word. Asterisk, got him. And just like that, it began. By the next morning, a formal investigation was opened. Asterisk, I watched from my apartment balcony as 3 unmarked vehicles rolled into Bones' auto shop. Uniforms everywhere. County police, state investigators. 2 officers in suits walked right into his office. 10 minutes later, they walked him out in handcuffs. He didn't look so tough anymore. No shades. No smirk. Just a man who realized too late that he picked the wrong target. Asterisk, word spread fast. The HOI notices were exposed as fraud. Half the people in my building shared stories, getting fines for fences too high, for having plants on balconies, for parking in their own spots. People were angry, and now they had someone to blame. Asterisk me? I didn't celebrate, not yet, because this wasn't about revenge. It was about setting the record straight, about proving that just because someone looks like an easy target, young, female, quiet, that doesn't mean they are. Asterisk, Bones thought he was powerful because people feared him, but I didn't need fear. I had facts. I had training. I had truth, and I wasn't done yet, because buried deep in those files was a second name. Someone even higher up. Someone who made Bones look like a foot soldier. Asterisk, and I just found the trail that would lead straight to him. Asterisk, the second name on the file wasn't someone I recognized, not at first. Russell T. Kincaid. Sounded official, corporate, clean, but I've learned the hard way. The cleaner the name, the dirtier the truth hiding underneath. I started digging. Turns out, Kincaid wasn't just some suit behind the curtain, he was the curtain. The founder of a fake property management company listed under 5 different aliases. Every single phony HOA Bones used traced back to shell companies with Kincaid's signature on the filings. Asterisk, worse. Asterisk, he had real pull. Retired city official. Deep ties to zoning boards, law firms, and even a few judges. Asterisk, that's how Bones stayed out of prison all these years. Kincaid made problems disappear. For a price, and I had just exposed his biggest enforcer. I sent the full trail to McAdams. But she messaged me privately. Asterisk, Kincaid slippery. We need more, something public, loud, unignorable. So I made a plan. We had all the evidence. What we needed now was pressure. Asterisk, I reached out to a friend from my college, Emma, journalism major, 10 times more fearless than I ever was. She just started working for a local news station, desperate for a real story to break through with. I gave her everything, the video clips, the false notices, the arrest, the forged documents, even interviews with neighbors who were too scared to speak until now. Asterisk, The story aired 2 days later under a headline no one could ignore. Asterisk, the fake HOA scam. Veterans in. Families targeted an illegal property scheme. Asterisk, they showed Bones being taken away in cuffs. They showed Kincaid's signature on over 24 fake directives. They showed me no rank, no title, just a woman standing by her busted up Yamaha talking about what happens when you fight back. The right way. And that's when everything blew open. Emails flooded the mayor's office. Victims from 3 counties came forward. Legal suits piled up. A federal audit was launched. Asterisk, but the real kicker. Asterisk Kincaid tried to deny it all. Until Emma dropped the recording. Asterisk, one of her cameramen had caught him outside his office threatening. A neighbor, using the same exact language Bones had used on me. That was the final nail. The next morning, Russell T. Kincaid was arrested on charges of fraud, conspiracy, and intimidation. The footage went viral, millions of views in a day. Headlines all over the country. Asterisk. But you know what stuck with people? Asterisk, one line. A quote Emma pulled from our interview that she played at the very end of her segment. Asterisk greater than, they thought I was just a college kid on a cheap bike. But I was a Marine long before I was a student. I know how to fight. I just choose when. That's when my phone exploded. Messages from strangers, fellow veterans, single moms, immigrants, people who'd been bullied, silent, and all saying the same thing. Thank you. But I wasn't done yet, because this wasn't just about Bones or Kincaid. This was about every person who ever got told they didn't belong by someone who thought power meant control. Asterisk, end. I had one more message to deliver. Asterisk, not through a courtroom, not through the news, but face to face, because Kincaid, he asked to see me before his arraignment, and I said yes. Asterisk. The holding room was cold. Asterisk cement walls. 1 metal table, 2 chairs, no cameras, no mirrors, just silence thick enough to choke on. Asterisk, I stepped in. Kincaid was already seated, hands cuffed in front of him. His expensive suit was gone, replaced with a beige jumpsuit that looked far too plain for a man who once wore silk ties and gave speeches about community integrity. He looked up at me and tried to smile. I suppose congratulations are in order, he said, voice smooth but hollow. You played quite the game. Asterisk, I didn't sit. I didn't smile back. Asterisk, this wasn't a game, I said flatly. People lost homes. Families got scammed. Vets were threatened. You weaponized the system. Asterisk Kincaid chuckled softly as if I'd said something naive. The system is a weapon. I just learned how to aim it. Asterisk, he leaned forward slightly, cuffs clinking against the table. What you don't understand is I didn't do anything illegal. Not technically. That's why I'm still breathing free. Air, you won't see a conviction, maybe a fine, maybe community service, but prison? He shook his head. I know the game too well. Asterisk, I stared at him, not angry, not shaken. Just disappointed. Asterisk, then you really don't get it. Asterisk, he raised an eyebrow. Get what? Asterisk, you already lost. He blinked. You wanted control, fear, obedience, and now the whole country knows your name and what you did with it. You're not feared. You're a joke. You're a headline people laugh at between coffee breaks. You're done in every city, every boardroom, every courtroom that matters. Even if you walk ... you'll never matter again. His face twitched. I stepped closer, leaned down. Asterisk, you picked the wrong Marine. You underestimated every single person you tried to silence. You used fake power to bully people who earned their lives with real blood, real sacrifice, real integrity. Then I whispered, just loud enough for him to hear, greater than, you never had power. You just borrowed fear until someone took it back. Asterisk he tried to speak, but I was already walking away. I didn't need to hear him beg or rage or explain. That wasn't what this meeting was for. Asterisk, I just wanted him to look me in the eye and know that I saw him for what he truly was, nothing. Asterisk, when I stepped outside, the sun hit my face like freedom. McAdams was waiting by her cruiser. Asterisk, you good? She asked. Asterisk, I nodded. He's done. Asterisk, she nodded back. Want a ride? Asterisk, I smiled. No, I've got my bike. Asterisk, and this time no one dared to touch it. The ride home felt different, not because the streets had changed, but because I had. Every turn, every engine hum beneath me felt earned. No more threats taped to my door. No more fake notices. No more pretending to be just a student. I was seen now, not for the jacket I wore or the ID in my wallet, but for what I stood for: quiet strength, calm defiance, and the kind of justice that doesn't need a spotlight to be real. Asterisk, when I pulled into my complex, something stopped. Me cold. A crowd. Neighbors. Dozens of them. People I'd seen in passing but never really spoken to. The mom from 3C with the toddler who always waved at my bike. The retired couple from the corner unit. Even the landlord. They were waiting. A banner stretched across the entryway, hand-painted in big block letters. Asterisk, thank you, Marine. You fought for all of us. Asterisk, I froze. Not out of fear, but something deeper, something warmer. Asterisk, a little girl stepped forward and handed me a folded piece of paper, crayon drawings, my bike, a big shield, and stick figures with smiling faces. Asterisk, you made the bad man go away, she said shyly. Asterisk, I crouched, took the paper, and nodded. No, we did. Applause rippled through the crowd. Not loud, just honest. And for the first time in a long time, I let myself breathe. Asterisk, this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about something bigger: community, truth, and standing tall when no one else could. Asterisk, I parked my bike, turned off the engine, and looked back at the people behind me. They weren't scared anymore. They were ready to speak up, to push back, to protect each other. And as I headed inside, one final thought settled in my chest like steel. Asterisk, they thought I was alone, but I was never fighting just for me. Justice didn't come with handcuffs, it came with change. Asterisk, and this time it was permanent. Asterisk, the end.